So what about recording underwater? Are there sounds underwater that might be interesting? You bet. There's all sorts of interesting stuff going on down there. So can we put a conventional microphone into the water and expect that to work? Some people do actually put them into condoms. You might want to try a non-lubricated one if you're going to do that. I haven't really gone there. I've felt a little bit cautious about doing that. But people certainly have, and you would probably want to use a dynamic microphone because you're not supplying phantom power. It just feels a little bit safer. But if you want to explore that, then I'll leave that with you. What you can get and use though, however, is hydrophones, and hydrophones are made specifically for that purpose, for recording underwater. So this one here, this one is made by Jez Riley French over in the UK. It is very much related to the contact microphone setup that we saw in the contact mics video. So it's just a piezo element, I believe. I haven't cracked it open, but that's my understanding. So it's very much the same sort of thing as the contact mic. So same rules apply in terms of if you plug it directly into your microphone preamp, it will typically be a little bit thin sounding, not full frequency response. You would want to have some kind of preamp or transformer to get that impedance up on your input. Another thing that you can get is specialist ones. So this one is a Burns, an Australian-made hydrophone. There are a bunch of different options for hydrophones from commercial operators, and they can vary quite a bit, I guess, in terms of cost and quality and frequency response. So this one doesn't have, it's got a pretty good frequency response actually, but it's maybe not a nice flat frequency response that you might want for scientific data, whereas this one has much more a flatter response, but at a trade-off of cost as well as sensitivity. So it's a lower sensitivity. To account for that, it does have its own preamplifier box. So that does bring up that sensitivity and accounts for the impedance factor. But yeah, there are pros and cons basically to the approach. So this sort of approach is quite affordable. I think they're in the ballpark of £50 each from Jez over in the UK, whereas a lot of these other options might be more than $1,000, and you can end up spending quite a bit for some of the higher end models that you can get. So, you know, what sort of sounds can we hear underwater? Well, there is actually a lot of natural sounds that happen. A lot of insects in particular, but depending on where you are, clicking from shellfish and crustaceans of different sorts. That's more in coastal areas that you get some more of that sort of thing. Fish, so a nice lively reef will have actually quite a busy soundscape of things going on underwater. Otherwise it can be just dead quiet, and I'm not sure, this is my little, I call it my top dam. It's not much of a dam because sometimes it's very dry and nothing in it, but thankfully we've had rain and there's some water in it at the moment. And so I was going to chuck the hydrophones in and see what we can hear, but also do some Foley type sounds where I'm actually going to make some movements in the water to get some sounds. So we'll give that a go.